welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a fine weekend. Here to kick off this Monday morning. WrestleMania weekend is officially over. The biggest match in WrestleMania history is finally over, with your tribal chief and new, and still champion. Thoughts on that coming up next. NBA playoff basketball is around the corner. This is the final week, I would say, of regular season before the play-in tournament starts April 12th, I believe. Today is April 4th, 2022. I'm David. Welcome back to the David Spike Podcast. Let's start off with WrestleMania weekend, man. Night one was probably the better night of night two. Not surprising. Deja vu from last year, right? I think that was the big thing on social media last year. Night one, was kind of hard to top. They had a lot more matches of the night caliber, or matches of the weekend, I would say. For me, I think match of the weekend was Bianca versus Becky Lynch. Now, as far as storyline goes, leading up to the match and then the big payoff, that's why I kind of got that. Coming into the match, Bianca Belair had the uphill fight of dethroning Becky Lynch after Becky Lynch made her return SummerSlam last year and beating her in 24 seconds. Now she's had multiple obstacles throughout the year, getting pushed to the back of the line and finally getting her rematch essentially after numerous feuds with Doudrop and being in number one contender match and winning the Elimination Chamber to get her WrestleMania match. Looks like they were going to do hair versus hair for a second. I was a little bit worried, but I'm glad they didn't do that. And at the end of the day, Bianca Belair is now your new Raw Women's Champion. What's next for Bianca? Do we see Bayley make an appearance tonight? They didn't get that last match that they want before Bayley got hurt. So I'm guessing, I'm hoping for Bayley to make a return on Raw after WrestleMania. Moving on, Cody Rhodes is finally back in WWE. He's made his reappearance back on the main roster. Seth Rollins, it was speculated a lot that Cody was going to be the guy that Seth was going to face. I didn't really like that because I felt like Seth Rollins really needed a WrestleMania win. Last year, he did the job to Cesaro, let Cesaro beat him. And he just never really been in a main event spot. He's kind of been floating in the mid-tier area of WrestleMania. And Cody coming back and Rollins putting him over is great to see. Cody's now back in WWE. What's next for him? I'll let you know in a minute. But the match was great. Cody versus Seth. For them to not really be calling a lot of things on the fly, and they probably did a lot of, prepping before this, but those guys are professionals. They've wrestled each other before, I'm assuming, from, Shield days and, versus the Rhodes brothers when he had his brother there, Dustin, aka Goldust. So it was no ring rust with Cody. It was a good match. Probably went around 20 minutes. I didn't write down any notes. I didn't write down anything. Just kind of going off the fly, kind of what I liked. Also a good match. Probably the biggest thing coming out of night one, though, is Stone Cold Steve Austin making his in-ring return in over 19 years. My man Steve. What? My man Steve. Kevin Owens got what he wanted. He got a fight with Stone Cold Steve Austin. Stone Cold was taking bumps, vertical suplexes on the concrete, on the platform, whatever you want to call it, on the floor, on the ground. He was taking bumps. It was all up and through the crowd fighting. My man had about 15 beers before the end of the match. Steve Austin style. It's great to see. Got some stunners. And that was pretty much all the big moments. Now, we also, we kicked off with the Usos. Rick Boogs had a bad injury. Looks like his knee kind of buckled. Forgot what the injury was called, but he's probably going to be out probably till summertime. It's a knee. So, you can't really rush knee injuries. Hope him nothing but the best. Come back. Usos, man, they're running out of opponents. Who's next for the Usos? Do they unify the tag team belts like they just did with the main championships? do we end the brand split? I think we'll find out tonight on Raw. Some of the other matches that were on night one. We also had the women's SmackDown Women's Championship. It's a little bit botchy for me. It wasn't really too much to kind of cover in that. I think Ronda's still finding her way in professional wrestling because I know she knows how to wrestle amateur and collegiate and all those levels like that. Professional wrestling is different than just knowing how to wrestle. So she still has some learning curves. Charlotte had a few botches in there that just shows that they didn't really have any real chemistry. I don't think they really kind of had time to gel. They didn't really have a lot of one-on-one matches to kind of get that chemistry in. I honestly think this feud is not over with Ronda and Charlotte. I think they're going to kind of carry that over until the next two pay-per-views and then probably blow it off unless they're going to do the unification thing as well with the women and have Bianca go against Charlotte. Fun fact, Bianca has now pinned 3 out of the 4 horsewomen for a championship. She's beating Bayley. She's beating Sasha. She's beating Becky. Charlotte, you know what to do, baby. Moving on, what else happened night one? Top of my head, I think those were kind of the big moments. Yeah. Let me just look at a quick recap thing here. 2 seconds. All right. Night two was very funny though. I think a lot of the comedy was more for night two than for night one. I think night one was more so, no, I need night one, bro. I need night one. Night one, day one, night one, whatever you want to call it, bro. All right. Yeah. Logan Paul. Let's go there real quick. Now, WWE is known for having a lot of celebrities come in, WrestleMania, SummerSlam, any other big premium pay-per-views to come in and kind of put on a show and bring some of their audience in to watch. Now, Bad Bunny last year put on a clinic as far as wrestling, doing certain wrestling moves and putting in the work as far as other wrestlers were saying that he was actually in the performance center week in, week out, going through the motions, figuring out how to, wrestle. Logan Paul did a very good job as well. Now, I still feel like Bad Bunny technically had a better performance, but Logan was phenomenal. Showed off his strength, his power, and also The Miz turned on him at the end. So what does that mean for Logan? Is Logan going to be in WWE a little bit more? Is he going to be a part-timer? Is he going to be babyface now? Or is it... I don't know. That's interesting there. What else happened night one? Like I said, that was probably it. Those are some of the big moments. And we also had a couple of filler matches. And like I said, touched on the Stone Cold Steve Austin thing. Let's move on to night two. Night two opened up with the Raw Tag Team Championship match. RK Bro versus the Street Profits and Alpha Academy. This was a good match. Some good spots in here and there. Finishes was great with, the springboard RKO from Riddle and then airborne RKO from Randy to retain. Going into I would say WrestleMania Raw, it seemed like the Street Profits were heel for like 2 seconds. They ran down to the ring and kind of wanted to fight. But according to what we saw, it looks like they're still babyface. And, they had a moment with Gable Stevenson. So it looks like he might be ready to start wrestling soon, It'd be great to see him in the ring. His first program might be with Chad Gable. And they could do the real, he mouthed off himself. He's the real Gable. So that might be, they got the wrestling background. So that might be his first feud, kind of get his feet wet in WWE. Moving on, outside of, before I get to Roman and that. Other things that happened night two that I cared about. We saw Omos and Bobby. Bobby's back. I think Bobby needs to challenge Roman. I think actually that should be Roman's next opponent. Probably Bobby. No returns. I know I'm jumping all over the place, but it's no returns, man. I'm a little shocked there was no returns. A lot of people speculated The Rock was returning. Bray Wyatt had social media in a frenzy saying he was in Dallas for the weekend. Now we still got Raw today and SmackDown Friday, so we still might get some surprises because they're going to be there all week. But yeah, the women's tag team match, the Bloodline has some more gold. Naomi is now a tag team champion. Nice match, nice storytelling. Now that they can float from Raw to SmackDown, they should get a lot more interesting. I think their first feud coming out of this will probably be Rhea and Liv again, and kind of run that off a little bit. AJ Styles and Edge, another match of the weekend caliber type match. Great storytelling. Damian Priest. The rumors are true. Damian Priest is now in he's now in a faction with Edge. That is a great move for Damian Priest to learn from Edge, because he looks like he has the heel persona, even though he's been babyface since he's pretty much been on the main roster. Edge is a good guy to learn from. They got the look. Edge's new music, his entrance, everything was great. And adding Damian Priest to that is just going to make them even better. Who knows where they might go now? Do they go ahead and challenge Roman too? Do they just dominate the mid card? What do? They have a lot of, and are they done? Are they going to get new members? Who do I think could fit that mold? I don't know, honestly. I think they should just start with those two. I don't think they really need a third guy. But it's not a faction until you really have a third guy. So look out for that. There's numerous guys that's lost in the shuffle that can use that extra rub. Hey, I wouldn't mind. You could throw Finn Balor in there to kind of use the storytelling of, Priest and Finn kind of being at odds, and now, like, what? We need Edge, Get some respect on our names out here. But that was also a good match. Edge with the win, with Damian Priest's distraction for a couple seconds. Nice. And on Pat McAfee. Pat, man, my man Pat tore it down. He tore it down. My man Pat, man. Good match by Pat. Austin Theory takes his WrestleMania loss with Vince McMahon at ringside. Now, with Vince being at ringside, I thought Austin was going to win due to a distraction from Mr. McMahon. But Pat tore down the house. He had some good moves. He jumped up to the top rope. He hit some good spots. He did a good job. Austin Theory lost again. What is the plan for Austin Theory? Is he going to keep losing until he snaps and turns into a new persona? I don't know. We got to keep watching there. I think Vince is just honestly attaching his name to this guy just so people could care a little bit. Because Vince doesn't really care about crowd reaction at the end of the day. Yes, you're here to let the crowd boo or cheer. But if they don't really care, then what? Austin's Theory doesn't seem to really have any legit heat. He's only getting talked about because he's next to Vince. And for him to lose on WrestleMania again. And the twist being, after the match, Vince McMahon gets in the ring himself and beats Pat McAfee. So Pat has two matches back to back. He beats Austin Theory and loses to Vince. And then for the crowd's pleasure, Stone Cold comes out, raises hell. Vince takes the nastiest stunner. The selling was bad. I mean, from the kick, he was basically out the ring. Woo! Vince don't need to take no more bumps, especially no more stunners. That needs to be the final stunner. That's it. Nothing. There's no more. They don't need that Vince Stone Cold, that vision, that shot. That is done. Vince don't need to take no more bumps. Stone Cold took another 20, 30 minutes. Of course, they're in Dallas, they're in Texas, so, it's all about Stone Cold. Came out. It gave Pat a stunner. Austin got a stunner. Vince got a stunner. Byron got the stunner the night before to end the show. So it was a nice segment. Got some nostalgia in there. Austin being in the ring with Austin Theory being in the ring with Stone Cold is also a nice rub. So this guy is getting a Randy Orton style lesson as far as being in the ring with certain guys, being around certain guys, being able to pick Vince's brain, things of that nature. Hopefully, we can start to get a serious Austin Theory, and he starts to build momentum. And the key thing here was Vince McMahon says when he's introducing Austin Theory, a future Universal Champion. Which brings me to the next and final thing I kind of want to talk about. The main event, night 2, Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar. Brock Lesnar versus Roman Reigns for the undisputed Universal WWE Championship. And it didn't really live up to the hype. Now, I don't know if it was they couldn't come to an even ground of what they wanted the match to be. I know a lot of people is shitting on the match anyway because it's nothing different than any of their other 5-6 matches that they've had together. But Brock doesn't really like to tell a story when he's wrestling. Brock likes to get to his spots. You could get your offense off here. I get my offense off here. Finish, 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 finish. End of the match. Now, this match could have went another 10 minutes if they would have fell into the Roman realm of storytelling. There was really no storytelling in this match at all. It was spear, Superman punch, Superman punch, Superman punch. Shit talking. Blah, 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 blah. For Brock, it was suplex, suplex, suplex. Suplex. Brock, 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 Brock. Gets off one at 5. And it just ended so suddenly. Roman Reigns seemed to have his shoulder pop out of place. Like it was really red. Seemed like, things just wasn't where it needed to be. He may be injured, but then again, he may be good to go next couple weeks. That just looked like it was a dislocated shoulder or a bone popped out of place or something like that. Second, as they said, AJ popped his back into place after Bianca got heel kicked in the face. So there's a lot of injuries after Rick Boogs popped his knee. So WrestleMania had a lot of injuries. Injury bug is real, man. This was the reset. We're going into a new year now, and I need everybody to be healthy so we can get some new feuds. We don't need any old feuds. But Roman is now your new champion. What's next for Roman? Now, potential matchups. Like I said, I think Bobby can build some momentum to challenge Roman because they have yet to have a one-on-one matchup. A lot of people are talking about Cody can challenge Roman for the undisputed championship. Those are 2 names. I still think Bray Wyatt may return. I honestly thought Bray Wyatt was going to return after the match. But then that takes away the whole winning the championship pyro moment. So I can understand why they didn't want to do that. Rumors were The Rock was supposedly in the building or supposed to be there. They said they saw The Rock's mom front row. So everybody speculated that The Rock was going to come out, not knowing that they are related. So they probably just wanted to see Roman win anyway. But they're still tonight, I'm assuming Roman is going to kick off Raw tonight to celebrate his dual championship and then probably get interrupted by his next opponent. But The Rock is going to be all the way to WrestleMania, so he's going to still need some feuds. So I think, if Bray Wyatt's going to come back, he's a possibility. You got Bobby Lashley, you got Cody Rhodes, you still got Seth Rollins. They still haven't really had a fair one-on-one matchup as far as Roman pinning Seth. I know he's probably done it on live events, but there's no pay-per-view of Roman actually beating Rollins, so it's still a story there. Now with Cody, they can do the whole Rhodes family versus the Anoa'i family on whose family is more important for the business. Now, Dusty Rhodes is the cream of the crop when it comes to everything that a wrestler needs to know. So they can always, go into that storyline. And Bobby Lashley is just an opponent that I guess he's just there. He could be, somebody to build with for a couple of months to put Roman over for a little bit. Roman's approaching 600 days. He's at 681 or 82 right now, or 582 right now. So it's still more time to go. But we're going to stop there. That's my WrestleMania little recap. As I said before, match of the weekend for me was Bianca versus Becky. Overall, I'll give the pay-per-view, night one, I'll give the pay-per-view B plus A minus. Night two, more of a B plus. Night one was better. Night one is always going to be better because it's fresher. There's no bar to set. They set the bar, and night two just has to follow. And that's it, man.